So, in Hungary this year, it's fair to say Max Verstappen wasn't having the best time in the world since the car was trash and it was really infuriating him, so much so he basically drove with the mentality of if I'm going down, so is everyone else. And you know what? Good on him. I would hate to drive that Red Bull too if all those issues he said there were present. So, that little incident inspired me to create this video of every F1 driver's best worst moments. But I want to clarify what I mean though. By saying best worst moments, I mean the funniest times an F1 driver has either raged or just failed miserably or crashed out, the figurative term, not literally. So I hope that makes sense, and let us see every F1 driver on the current grid and their best worst moments. Let's get straight into these, and these will just be my opinions of the funniest best worst moments by every F1 driver, so yours may differ. Also, it should be said that some of these drivers are not that emotional, so some of these might just be a little spouts of anger. Anyways, we will go in order of the championship standings from the bottom, and we have Bottas first up, and I think it's Zandvoort 2021 was the funniest, since it was just announced at that time he would be sacked for Russell at Mercedes. So in response, he commits team orders in less than ideal places, and when he starts to go for the fastest lap, James Vowles says to him to back out so Lewis can keep the point. So what does Bottas do? He sets the fastest lap anyways and apologizes. This was less than ideal for Merc since they now had to pit Lewis for softs so he could get the fastest lap again, which totally took him out of contention for the win. Now we have Logan Sargent, and truthfully, he's just an introvert, so he really hasn't done anything. So I guess maybe it was the comments he made regarding Marcus Ericsson when he said something about Logan, and Logan basically responded with calling him dumb, but that's not that bad since we know Ericsson is a little dumb. Next, we have Zhou, and he's a calm man for the most part, but he finally cracked when he felt the wrath of Latifi in Singapore 2022.
Oh, hit the wall, and Latifi hitting the wall.
Next up, we have Alex Albon, and I'm putting Austria 2020, since this man was spun out through no fault of his own and proceeded to call Lewis a sore loser, and then proceeded to be a sore loser for the whole season, especially in Nürburgring 2020, where he said they race him so hard. No shit, it's F1. But at least he has improved and is a cool guy, but that 2020 season just felt bad for him. Next up, we have Esteban Ocon, and oh boy do we have so many. For Ocon, I truly cannot choose one since he has so many, but if I had to choose one specific thing, then it's just him against teammates. Baku 2017, Spa 2017, Jeddah 22, Brazil 23, even though it was former teammates, any mild inconvenience happens with a current or former teammate, he does his best to make sure it's not going to be so mild anymore, and people wonder why some of us don't even like him. Now, we have Kevin Magnussen, and where do we even start? I think the best one in my opinion was in Jeddah this year, where he was dropping off the pace massively in the race. So, when Haas said to him to protect Nico so he could score points, he locked in and got minutes worth of penalties to make sure Nico got points, which he did. A sacrificial crash out, if you will. But he has had many moments where he wasn't told by anyone, such as in Hungary 2017 where he was interesting, and especially Canada 2019 where he straight up just said to the team, the car sucks. Next, we have Tripod, and again, another nice guy, but I will say Austria this year is the closest I can think of, since Ocon was disobeying team instructions, surprise surprise, so Gasly kept having Ocon pestering him, and when Ocon was defending very aggressively, Gasly, becoming more mad, overtook him, and then on the radio he said ciao to departing Ocon and basically said go away to him. Now we have Daniel Ricciardo, and he's not really an angry person. However, in Suzuka 2018 when he missed Q3, he did have this moment.
Absolutely nothing he could do today. Exactly.
Again, not really a crash out moment, but I guess that shows how unproblematic he is most of the time. Someone else who is maybe a bit more problematic though is his teammate Yuki Tsunoda, and where do we even begin? He's not violent, but he sure has a potty mouth. However, his best worst moment came in this year where he reached a new high, or rather low, where he said the R slur referring to the other drivers causing traffic in the pit lane, and who knows if he truly didn't understand its implications. However, he is still here for saying what we all want to say during road rage. Now we have Nico Hülkenberg, and the closest this DILF has is in Hungary 2017, where he confronted K-Mag very unprofessionally in the middle of an interview to talk about his interesting driving, but was promptly shut up when K-Mag uttered those lovely words. Now we enter the top 10 in the standings, and we have Lance Stroll, and this twat has so many, so instead here are two stupid moments. The first being in Italy 2019, when Seb spun and came back on the track like an idiot, which is what Stroll said after he was hit by him, and then proceeded to do the same thing to Pierre Gasly. Ironic. The second is this year in China, where he was a specific word Yuki used and crashed into the back of Ricciardo and blamed Ricciardo for it. I mean, what can he even say at this point? Next, we have Fernando, and for this, I'm putting every single thing he has said on the radio during his second McLaren stint, since we have absolute classics such as GP2 engine, I don't want, karma for Palmer, him fighting Lewis who is in a vastly superior car for like P11 or something, and the I don't know moment in Interlagos in Brazil 2018. What a hilarious time. Next, we have George Russell, and in my opinion, the best one is when he went to Twitter after Abu Dhabi 2021 and tweeted this, like he was the one who lost. And after some backlash for that very unprofessional tweet, he backtracked and said Max had a fantastic season and what had just happened was ridiculous, blah blah blah, and say what you want about the race. However, as a professional F1 driver, this is very unprofessional to tweet with emotion, like at least wait and sound collected first. Next, we have Sergio Perez, and after an extremely mediocre season in 2023, Red Bull entered the Japanese Grand Prix after a horrible weekend, and Max channeled that anger to win dominantly, and Checo succumbed to that anger by literally retiring twice in one race. And this was after he had a typical bad quali, so when he was coming through the field in the race, he made sure to break his front wing as much as possible before breaking his car and retiring. But, good for him, Red Bull repaired the car and sent him out again. And then he retired again. So, great job, man. Now we have Lewis Hamilton, and for a long career like his, he doesn't have that many angry moments. However, I will put the Brosady saga for here, since there were times, especially in Abu Dhabi 2016, where the team told him to drive faster. However, instead of doing that, he became a movable chicane to try and get Nico overtaken by Seb and Max, so Lewis can become champion, despite the team telling him to pull away and stop. At least he has shown regret for that saga, so at least it was character development. Next up, we have Carlos Sainz, and this year in Miami, he was struggling to get past Piastri, and growing tired of being behind, the dive bomb started, and in lap something, Sainz locked up and hit Piastri, which took his wing off and got the position. Other than that though, I feel like I'm missing something here, since I feel like he's done worse, but I can't remember, so let me know if there was a better one. Next up, we have Oscar Piastri, and this year in Miami, he was struggling to get past Sainz, and growing tired of being behind, the dive bomb started, and in lap something, Piastri ran wide and took Sainz with him, which set him behind him, and he started to pull away afterwards. I really can't see how Oscar can do something worse since he is just a chill dude, but a close second I guess could be the Fiasco saga. Now for the top 3 in the driver standings, and first up we have Charles Leclerc, and we have Monaco 2019. Back when the Monaco curse was still in full effect, in typical fashion, he had a bad quali, so starting from the back, he was determined to pull a max 2018 and score points starting last. So what happened? Well, he crashed with Hülkenberg, and instead of nursing the car home, he tore the floor to shreds and retired. I would be stressed too, man, I don't blame you. Next up, we have Lando Norris, and there are many choices. However, I choose Austria this year since, after a good round of fortune, Max was now in front of him in the race and within striking distance. So, instead of pulling off a good clean overtake, he stayed behind, so yet again, the dive bomb started. But these were unreasonable to say the least, since this dude was like 10 car lengths behind, absolutely sending it. And of course they crashed, it was inevitable. But unlike Piastri, I could see Lando doing something much more worse, since he's really starting to get on the nerves of everyone, it seems, since in Hungary, we saw a moment between him and Lewis in the cooldown room, so let us see where he goes from here. And now we have the current leader of the Drivers' Championship, Max Verstappen, and I cannot choose one. This man simply has too many to choose from, so here are 3. In third, we have Hungary 2024, where the car was set up badly, the tires were bad, basically everything that could have went wrong with the car did go bad. And of course, Max lost his marbles, so he was literally having arguments with the team mid-driving, and after being behind Lewis for so long, Max decided it was time to channel Crash Verstappen to return, and well, you know the rest. And second, we have Brazil 2018, where he was fighting Lewis for the win, and after building a gap and looking to win the race, Ocon, being the twat he is, wanted to unlap himself at the S's going side by side, and Max, not having to move out the way for backmarker wanting to unlap, crashed, and after the race he saw Ocon and straight up assaulted him. And I don't blame him, since I would be fuming too if that happened to me, and maybe everyone else too. But both just pale in comparison to what happened at the Portuguese Grand Prix in 2020, where in FP2 wanting to start a lap, he went side by side with Stroll, and instead of Stroll backing off, he crashed into Max, where all hell broke loose. He called Stroll 2 things, so have a listen.
Man, is this fucking guy blind? What the fuck is wrong with him? What a retard. What a mongol, I swear.
For saying the R slur, he got a fine and reprimand by the FIA, but for calling Stroll a Mongolian without the lien, the literal government of Mongolia demanded Max to apologize for his remarks, which of course he had to apologize for. But imagine being so mad that a country tells you to calm down. That is generational. Anyways, that was every F1 driver's best, worst moments. I know this is a stupid idea, but in the summer break, we gotta scrape the barrel for ideas, so here you go. Again, this is not a ranking, but if it was, just know, Max would be number 1 for literally pissing off a country for a mild inconvenience. Again, generational. Anyways, if you enjoyed today's video, don't forget to like and subscribe, since it would help me in making better content, and let me know in the comments what your favorite moment was, as well as putting video ideas you'd like to see. And as always, have an amazing day.
Good weather for the duck.